This video is the first episode of the new Design Dilemma series, where I'll be answering some of your submissions on designs or decorating challenges. I've recently received an overwhelming amount of questions from people all over the world. Unfortunately, I can't respond to all of them, so I've made this series to give practical and accessible advice that everyone can learn from. We've partnered with Fiverr on this video. I'll be going on their website and work with some freelance designers to showcase our solutions to some of your questions and also visualize these ideas for you. Let's get started. First up, we have Madis from Estonia. Madis wrote in with a dining room dilemma. She was unsure about the ideal placement for her dining table as her dining room was very narrow, measuring 2.4 by 3 meters, which was an issue as her table was 90 centimeters wide. She was experiencing space issues with her chairs as they often brush up against the walls, leaving marks. She was wondering if a round table would be better or if I had any ideas for protecting the walls. First of all, I have to say that I really like the huge window here that acts as a backdrop, and how the dining area is somewhat separated from the kitchen. I thought that it would be a good idea to have a bench seat along the stove wall side instead of chairs, something like a dining banquet. As benches have a standard depth of around 40 to 50 centimeters, this would allow us to push the dining table to be roughly 50 to 60 centimeters away from the wall, which would leave roughly 1 meter on the other side of the table for chairs. For even more clearance, Madis could get a slightly narrower table that is around 80 centimeters. To finish off the space, a bench cushion could be done in a custom upholstery to add a unique element and a streamlined pendant lamp, like the Acorn lamp by Athlete Fate, or the iconic Louis Poulsen PH5 pendant, which could be hung above the table. Of course, there are plenty of similar pendants at a much more affordable prices as well. I sent this brief to TWJ Interior on Fiverr, who then executed the rendering of the space. The brief for this render was executed really well. I was particularly impressed with the attention to detail, such as the black kitchen cabinets with the backsplash and wooden countertop. Even the power outlet near the end of the kitchen was added in, which really helps visualize what the space will look like. The decor touches like the flowers, tea set, cushions, and artwork are just enough to give the space some life. What is great about this idea is that you can customize it for any budget. You can achieve a similar look with IKEA cabinets such as the Besta and Patsa units. For the Besta unit, you can get white rattan doors directly from IKEA, which would lower down the cost significantly. However, I'll suggest adding an extra layer of timber or a seat cushion with a timber frame for extra support to evenly distribute the weight. Also, a plinth or base at the bottom from standard 2x4s cut to size for stability and to bring it up to a comfortable seating height. Alternatively, you could use the Plaza unit, which is more suited to be used as a bench. With a simple DIY, you could transform the Sanidel doors by adding in a rattan panel in the middle. Of course, if your budget permits it, you could get a custom bench made with custom back padding for a high-end built-in look. There's also plenty of tutorials out there on how to DIY a seat cushion if you're willing to do a little bit of sewing and sourcing the materials. Next up, we have Jonathan from Pennsylvania. Jonathan's dilemma was to do with the layout of his living room. He had just moved into the new apartment with a living room that has 5 evenly spaced doorways around the perimeter and was wondering what layout would be best to avoid obstructing traffic flow between the doorways. Ooh, this is a tough one. I gave Fiverr freelancers TWJ Interior and Deborah creative freedom to address this dilemma, which I provided feedback later on. We'll see what they have to offer. I really like TWJ's interior solution to this dilemma. The layout allows for natural walking paths all around the lounge area, and no doors are blocked. The use of curved furniture and a round rug is brilliant, as it allows for a more intimate conversation area and better traffic flow as there are less sharp edges that you can bump into. This also allows the piano to be placed naturally with a view to the balcony, instead of forcing it to the corner of the room. I also like how they covered the radiator with slatted screens, but I'm not sure if this is compliant with the laws in the US, so make sure to check that out beforehand if you want to replicate this design. Replacing the upper shelf in the niche with a wall lamp was also a nice touch, but you could install a recessed light instead if you needed the extra shelf space. Deborah's render featured a layout centered around a TV, also with a central round coffee table. However, with a rectangular lounge against the wall and 2 curved armchairs. I personally prefer the first layout, but this one also works well if you want to integrate a TV into the living area. I'll replace the armchairs with something slimmer and would also consider getting rid of one armchair, leaving the remaining one in the right-hand corner to open up the space even more. If more chairs are needed for guests, The piano stool could be used as one, so finding a comfortable stool would be a good investment. I also really like how Deborah added LED strips and arches to the niche. One thing though that I would consider is the center opening blockout curtains because of the fire risk with the radiator by the window. A free-flowing track may alleviate this issue, as the curtains could be center open during the months when the radiators are off, and then stacked all the way to the left side when radiators are on. Blinds are another possible option, but I think a curtain with rods will look much nicer in the space. You can actually get really good designs and renderings produced with just a couple of $100s on Fiverr, which in the past would have cost thousands of dollars if not more. This is really great resource if you're looking to design your home or simply need someone to translate your ideas into drawings before spending a significant amount of money on buildings and materials. With Fiverr, you also get access to hundreds of thousands of incredible creatives from all over the world at your fingertips. Build a website, logo design, social media, and many more services that you can choose from. I've also left a special link in the description box below and code Reynard10, which you can use at checkout to get 10% off your Fiverr purchase. You can also check out the links to the designers I work with in this video down in the description box below. Okay, next up we have Calvin Lam from the USA. Calvin recently moved into an apartment with a one-bedroom loft and was struggling to figure out a way to use the awkwardly sized nook under the stairs. His apartment doesn't have a storage closet, so he considered converting it into a storage nook. Another idea he had was to put in a desk or use it as a place as a wine fridge. Besides being unsure on how to use the space, there was two small complications. First is that the internet panel was located in the nook, and second that there wasn't any power outlet. I also gave Deborah creative freedom to address this dilemma. I thought that the final render made great use of the small space as it features a desk and open storage unit. However, I thought that it would be challenging to DIY this unless you had excellent carpentry skills. I really like the use of light timber, as it adds warmth to the space as well as the integrated LED strips, as it makes it look like a proper built-in. As the design requires a high level of carpentry, I think that it would be better if the side panel was flush with the left-hand wall with an opening for the internet panel, rather than having a few centimeter gap. This would also stop dust getting trapped in the little opening and allow for more storage space. You'll also need to get an electrician to add a power outlet behind the computer for a neat design. Otherwise, an extension cord running along the base of the wall would be sufficient. For our fourth submission, we have Shay from Australia. Shay was unsure about the negative space on her living room wall. An idea she had was to have an artwork there, but her husband thought a large artwork piece would make the living space feel too cluttered. Looking at the space, you can see that everything is very bottom heavy, and that the TV unit and console are slightly too small relative to some of the objects on it. The TV unit itself is very low, and having the TV sit directly on top of it makes viewers' eyes linger around the bottom of the space, especially with the relatively tall floor lamp and the table lamp that is above the console. I thought that it would be a good idea to get a slightly longer TV unit that has legs to lift it up a bit. Something slightly bigger would allow for the flower arrangement to be placed on the TV unit for extra height. I also thought that hanging a round mirror above the console or leaning an artwork on top of the console would balance out the wall and reduce the amount of negative space. Otherwise, Shay could integrate the TV unit and console into one large unit, something like this from IKEA with open unit shelving, which will prevent closing up the space. The TV could be placed on the shoulder side and the taller shelving could be placed on the right side to act as a console. I like this idea as we also block the view to the back of the TV, where all the clutter and cables are as you walk into the room from the hallway. A similar concept can also be done with an integrated TV unit and sideboard. The bed side is a popular option here, although I'll suggest getting one with legs or mounting them on the wall to give an airy feel. Shay could also consider getting a more streamlined coffee table with a thinner top in marble as well as one with thinner legs. The coffee table could also be moved closer to the sofa so the space doesn't look so disjointed. Right now, it feels like the coffee table and sofa are separated, but at the same time grounded into one with the rug. Before we go on with the last submission, I wanted to share this really exciting shopping resource that we've just released. As a decorator, I totally understand that shopping for your home can be overwhelming due to the amount of choices out there. Looking for a couch alone can take days, and many of you probably don't even know where to start. We've decided to compile everything into a single easy-to-use live database where you can filter stores based on categories, country, and price point. We've included over 200 stores, from big box to small individual makers, so that no matter what, you can find what you need for your home and feel confident about your purchase. Back in the days, This will be a designer's best kept secret. You can check this out at rlevel.com/mega-shopping-list, linked in the description box below. For our last submission today, we have Brian from the USA. Brian wrote in as he was only 65% happy with his living room and was unsure on how to move forward. He wanted to keep his black velvet armchair, TV console, and lamps, keeping these existing pieces and also purchasing some new ones in the future. He wanted to warm up the space in a clean and modern way. He was particularly unhappy with the sofa and empty area above the window ledge and wanted help with these aspects. If this was my space, I would consider moving the armchair to the corner next to the TV unit as a reading nook. The floor lamp could also be moved to that corner, and then you could buy another floor lamp or table lamp to be placed next to the couch to add in an element of height. Another idea would be getting a tall plant instead. As for the sofa, you could get something like this from Castlery, or this one from Interior Define. Then swap the rug out for something bolder but less busy, or stick to a neutral one. You can find all the products mentioned in this video down in the link in the description box below. Above the sofa, you could add in an artwork or some picture ledges or shelving. A slightly more challenging idea is to add wall sconces instead of a floor lamp with an artwork in the middle. As for the window ledge, I think it is fine as it is. Brian could consider combining plants of different scales or colors to heighten visual interest. If you wanted to step away from plants, some books or a leaning artwork in the corner like these ones would be a good idea. And that is all for this design dilemma episode. Let me know in the comment section below if this is something you'd like to see more in this channel. And if you're in need of some high-level design or decorating advice for your own place, don't hesitate to submit your dilemma down there in the link in the description box below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.